Hello, everybody. Welcome back. This is Vanessa Donaldson with Your Life Beyond the Military. And today I am actually veering from the military to have a book discussion. I'm interviewing some authors that in a book collaboration called I Love You Because and I Love Me Because. It's like a coffee table book and it's kind of interactive. So I'm doing a deeper dive with some of the authors just to get to know their story of how they came to this journey of this book that we're on together. So sit back and enjoy the ride. We've got Anne Klossing on the line with us today. And thank you so much, Anne, for joining me.
Thank you for inviting me. It's so exciting to meet the other authors in a collaborative book. So thanks for Zoom for doing that.
Yes, thank you to Zoom. We love this platform. Again, the positives with the pandemic. I mean, we weren't even on Zoom much before then, right? And now look at us.
Exactly.
We probably wouldn't even be all connecting doing these projects. So this is amazing. So the book, The Subject of Love, can talk about it all day. And there's a reason, I guess, we both ended up getting drawn to this book. So for you, your personal reasons, what inspired you to be a part of this book collaboration?
Donna Brown, who is another author, she reached out to me. She thought maybe it would just be a good fit for me. And what really, Donna and I shared another book, Women Who Shine. I think Donna was in
Yeah.
that book. She might not have. In the Kate Butler book series, the Impact series, so that we all become like this family of authors. So it's pretty cool. So Donna exposed me to this, but what really drew me to the book was the organization that Hollis Citron, our publisher, had chosen. And that group is 100cameras.org. And what they do is, I believe they give counseling to kids, but they give these children cameras to express themselves. And it's children who have endured a trauma of some way, shape, or form. And it's global, it's a worldwide movement. So, having undergone trauma during my childhood years, that's what really drew me into it. And I had no idea what I was going to do, but I really liked the idea of that creativity instead of having to write, just using your creativity through photography or art or however you do that. So yeah,
Hmm.
that's what drew me in.
Oh, that's beautiful. And we haven't talked much about the charity, but I've always been drawn to charities. I had a boating ministry with my husband, taking out injured veterans with PTSD. And so this was just like the icing on the cake when I joined the group and we were working on this book and I saw, oh my gosh, she's got a charity involved with this thing. And it sounded like from the messaging that like 100% of the proceeds is going to this charity. This is just like, it's a love book.
Yep,
It's a
for the
book of love. It's
first
an
year.
action love for the first year. Okay.
Yep, first
So
year.
a little more specific. So yeah, and I didn't think of myself as a creative person, but when she said you don't just have to write and then you can do pictures and imagery while doing the van life, most of my story is in visuals now. It's all photography of nature and landscape and in the wild. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is her charity connected to children. So I connect with that too now because there's what did they say? 1,000 one picture's 1,000 words or something,
Oh,
the
and where it takes you, it may take me somewhere else. And that's
yeah.
what's really cool about, photography is what memory it sparks for you, it is something else for me. So it's
Yeah.
really the individualism that each person as a reader or viewer will get from it. So yeah,
I
awesome.
love that. And you've got photos behind you too on your wall, it looks like. I mean, my photo is
That,
nature from the campground in the Keys. You've got a horse and like a tree of life. What are
that
those photos
horse
behind?
moved my head. I think I was about, we'll say somewhere between 10 and 14 when I did that. That's a
Oh,
painting with acrylic
wow.
paints. And then just to tip the camera up a
Beautiful.
little bit, the butterfly at the top is actually a representation of one of the angels that is with me daily, not my guardian, my body angel. The picture, the painting below it is a tree that is sacred on the farm that I live on with, I call him my non-papered husband. I always laugh about that.
The non-favorite husband. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. That's just,
So
I just
then
got
the other
goosebumps.
one is
Hmm.
Archangel Michael. And that's my vision of Archangel Michael.
Okay. You're
So yeah,
very creative in expressing in your in painting form. So
yes,
that's
yes, yes,
amazing.
yes.
And I would have said before Halsey's book, well, that's nice. You're so creative. I'm not creative at all. But I'm like, no, I express in photography by taking pictures of the scenes and the life I'm experiencing. So we're all sharing our different gifts with the world, and beautiful, beautiful setting behind you. So now that we know how you came to be inspired with the book and all that, a little more about the charity, you said it was called 100
Cameras.
cameras.org, right?
Dot
Okay.
org.
I'll
Yeah.
have to put that in the show notes too. So what are the key themes and messages in your portion of the book that you're discussing?
The I love you because is um just a spoiler alert, it's pictures of my mother and my daughter and myself, and it's a generational wedding dress. So I wore my mother's dress, and then my daughter wore it. And my father had passed on Christmas Eve 2010. So, you know, when you have those significant moments, it's like, where are they? And I'm very spiritual. I'm a channeler, so I'm a lot of woo. Um, Knowing that he was there, it was like so much time has passed when you can let your guard down, when grief no longer consumes you to where you can know, just know that person is there. And he was there throughout the day. I could feel him, I could sense him. And it was just the photography that she took with the light streaming on through. And
Now,
then
who
I
took the
just,
photos?
her professional
Oh,
photographer.
okay. Okay. I don't need to know that. I was just wondering. I didn't
Yeah,
know if it was one of you that took the pictures or
no, I
whatever, but
did
it was.
not take it. I was actually putting the buttons together. So it's three pictures. It's
Mm,
her individually, me doing the buttons, and then mom and her and I putting the final touches to the dresses. So it's this collage of photos, and then I just put a little blurb on there. So when you go to the QR code, that's when I really I wrote about it. So
hmm.
I'm reading that to you. And Hollis, the first time, she's like, my God, Ann, you had Arthur in tears, her husband.
Oh, I
So
was
she
almost
said,
in tears just from the picture description. I
yeah.
was almost starting to get teared.
So I am very passionate about when you transition. This isn't death. This is a transition.
Hmm.
We grieve the physicalness, the
Hmm.
touching. That's what we grieve. But my message is know that they're there. And when you can get past that burning grief, that gut wrenching grief, ask, create a symbol, do
Hmm.
something with your loved one, and you will be surprised at the amazing things. So it's like rainbows with my father and I, and hawks. When the hawk comes out, I know I need to pay attention. It's like, and your head is not in your heart.
Yes.
So yeah,
Really in tune. Wow.
I
And
was
the, go ahead.
I was joking with
The,
I had a program this week called The Angel with Me, and I was kind of joking online that, when the angels can't get my attention, it's like, hey, Don, we're not
the
getting our
hawk.
attention. You're on board. And it's usually pretty pointed.
Oh, really, pretty spot on. Yeah.
Yep.
Just the fact that, your whole wedding theme. I'm in the season now with our daughter. She's been with her boyfriend for like 7, 8 years, and they finally had a proposal, and they got engaged, and he even invited us to the whole proposal. We drove up with the van to Maryland. It was a big surprise, and so it was just so neat to be part of it all. And then my mom initiated by giving him her wedding ring. My dad had passed years ago, and so she gave it to the boyfriend. And we're all joking like, you better not run off with this ring now that when's it going on the finger. But he's a good guy. So it's on the finger now. And then my daughter took it to a different level. I didn't know about ring setting because I didn't go that route. We did the courthouse wedding and off we went, military wedding. So with my daughter getting the ring set, it was like a 2, 3 month process. And,
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't know it takes so long. And then she told us at the proposal, she had me in tears because she put a little birthstone. She put my birthstone inside her ring and
Oh,
my mother's. So like the attention to detail and really taking that ring
mhm.
to a different level. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, I could just put a picture of, the ring in different angles with the birthstones. And it's that thing.
Yeah.
It's weaving that's weaving 3 generations together. You have it in the pictures now with the photography, and we've got it in like her wedding band ring, my mom's ring with our birthstones all together. Like it's all expressions of love, right?
Yes. And my mother is she's the stylish one in the family. So at 18, when she got married, she had a timeless wedding dress. I mean, it's just very elegant, it's very simple, and it just was perfect. And so many people gave her compliments on that dress. And it's like, yeah, it was mom's, yeah, it was grandma's.
That does not always happen. I don't know.
No, and weathering too, ceremonies too. There was a
Yeah.
tear in the back because somebody had stepped on it when I was wearing it. There was a short little tear, but they were able to seam it together, but it cleaned up really good. So
What a
they had to let
story.
it all out when I got in, and then they had to take it all back in when my daughter got married.
Generations of body types. It's okay.
Sturdy I am.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So now you're going to have that legacy, in print to
Yep.
give to family to look at. So
Yeah,
beautiful,
yeah.
beautiful story.
How about for
So,
you?
so I also like the idea that it was not just writing because I am a writer too, but the fact that you said you can do pictures, you can do audio, you can do video, it's however you want to create. And I was like, okay, I'm in. She gave us so many options. You couldn't say I can't do any of those things. And it was just, I was off grid for 5, 6 months with the camping. It was a seasons of silence and just sitting in stillness in nature. And then it just was like this glaring, spot right on Hollis's name. Didn't know much about her and was like, I have to have a conversation with this woman and find out what she's apart with this
Yeah.
love book. And so, for my story, it's a love story between my husband and myself because for years people have said, "Where's your love story book?" Because we met in Africa. I was in the Peace Corps, like digging wells and working with indigenous people in a tiny little village in the middle of West Africa, and he was always sharply dressed and standing guard at the embassy as a Marine security guard. So completely different. I'm running around with dreadlocks and unshaven body and Birkenstocks. I even mentioned Birkenstocks in the writing, and so I have photos of us kind of like younger marriage and then shotgun wedding. I don't disclose that much, but I'm coming out with that now. It's a part of myself that I was never really proud of because I grew up Christian, and you wait till you're married, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this backwards now. So I am letting it all out there now, and ending with 27 years of marriage. Here we are, and you thought you knew what love was back then, and the stuff we've been through, and deployments and child rearing. So it's all kind of in pictures and a little audio.
You said something that I just want to comment on is how not only religion, but how individuals put things in boxes. So you got pregnant. What better gift than life? What better
Mm,
gift than life?
it's a
You
sequel. You
know,
got me on something now. Yeah.
yeah, and then it's like, what better gift than life? And we shun people for that. Why? It's life. It's a
Yeah.
new human being
Yeah.
expressing themselves. It's like
Yeah.
I don't understand. It's the
It's
new
the religion.
generations and
The
our
religion.
children are going to
Hmm.
be so much more open to you do you, I do me, and that whole law of free will.
Hmm.
It just
Hmm.
I'm
I
really
love the way you
excited
added on
for
that.
the generations coming up.
Hmm.
How many times do we listen to people say, they don't work, they don't do this? No, they're just different.
Hmm.
They're
Mm,
just
I
different and they're
love it.
more open.
Yes. Yes. And I've had conversations with my daughter about it, and she said, I never looked at it as any kind of, she said, it's a love story. You and dad met in Africa and like created me in this love in your love story. So she even sees it different, but I felt like I need to apologize to her that it didn't do it the right way. Of course, she went the opposite way and took a few years to even get engaged. She's going a much slower track than mom did. So like something still triggered in her to slow down on her path. But yeah, but I appreciate you sharing that. But yeah, so that's what books do. They allow us to share our hearts. It's a healing process for ourselves, and then we can
Mhm.
also hopefully be that inspiration for other people when they're walking through a season of struggle or trauma or something on in their
Oh,
life that they can
yes.
relate to. So
Mhm.
you're like, oh yes, you've got that. It's all coming in the book.
Oh, yes.
So yeah, so okay, so keeping on point here, let's just go the last part with what are you hoping other people will get out of your story and the book in general?
My intention is the I love me because was more important. I mean, I feel I love you because is important too, but more importantly, to stress to individuals that, more so women probably, because we have this tendency to try and do it all, stuff it all down, try and be the be all and end all for everyone, and we get ourselves in trouble in our health. And the I love me because is I went from a little girl to an adult. I went through a lot of crap. Was it fun? Wasn't fun. And in my 50s is when I freed myself to new ideas and new concepts. And looking back and going back to that child that was fondled by one of her grandparents, carried that away and around with her, and then had her own child, realizing the ramification of that. And it's not just that, it was looking deeper, setting boundaries. I didn't know how to set boundaries, and I ended up, being in a depressed state for many, many years, in and out and in and out, in and out, and then major clinical depression, in and out and in and out, and then the second one, and then the second one, I woke up. So it's that reflection of how far I have come. And if I can do it, it means you can do it.
Mm.
And then I'm passionate about teaching people to lead a soul-led life, which is connecting with your heart and thinking from your heart. And old paradigms like to hang on. That old personality likes to hang on. And it's me learning to embrace her and not stuff her down. Because there was a time where I was really angry with her.
The inner
Very
child,
things that had happened. Yes. And it's like all those things happen for the reason because they developed me for who I am today, who is this person who wants to teach skilled thought, wants to teach the universal laws and how your thought process and how we can create our reality. That's what's important to me. It's like, is it easy? Oh, no, it is not easy. But it beats living a life of status quo where you're going to work and coming home. You check your soul out the minute you walk out the door. You don't like it. And you come home and it's like, oh, I have all this work to do.
Yeah, that negativity. Yeah. And you said, check your soul out. I use one of my taglines for the van life is charge your soul, not just your cell phone. So it's all about, getting back into nature to slow down and reset. And you're like, people are just checking the soul at the door kind of. And that's the essence of who we are and going through life just like robotic and mundane and negative and not happy. And you only have one life to live, right?
Exactly.
On
So
this
why are
earth.
you beating yourself up so bad,
Yeah, I know. That's why I love this circle. Like another author I spoke with too, she said Hollis has a way to bring all these magical souls together. And when I have one conversation with the next, I'm like, oh my gosh, these Hollis's people, they're like really deep people that are doing stuff and change advocates of the world, So we're calling this Love Book a movement too, right? Or Love Train
It's
movement.
speaking from the infinite side of the world, very eager to watch us develop, eager to come on to this movement and see where each individual author, and I just got chills with that, where each individual author is going to take off with us. How many lives are we going to affect? We've got 20 authors, 1,000 people per author.
Yeah.
10,000 people per author. I mean, it's big. It's very big. And I just feel it like a funnel. We're starting out here and it's just going to. So
bigger than we might even imagine. And it's interactive too. It's growing this whole other level of interactiveness because the QR codes make it interactive. You're not just reading it. There's visuals. You can put your phone on there and now you're going to hear, you're going to see videos. There's maybe a Google number coming out where people can call and share their love stories or share their thoughts in this whole movement. So that's making it, connecting with the audience, connecting with people that are touched by what they're reading. Maybe just one chapter, one word, one picture, who knows? And then in a year or so, there's even going to be like an art show that's developing into this. So this is really quite something that we've hopped on this trade.
Yes, I'm looking at putting that on my vision board and generating the funds to get to the art show.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
want to be there.
Yeah, and this is not your first rodeo. You've got a book sitting right on your, behind you. Like you said, you've written other books. So this is not, it's my first rodeo getting like published. So, other than some newsletters and little writing articles I've done. But how do people reach you, Anne, if
Um,
people want to
they
learn more
can
about what
reach
you do?
me. Yes, they can reach me by my name on Facebook. I have a profile page. I also have a community. It's called We Channel Conversations with the Infinite. And you can reach me on my website, which is just my name. It's annclossing.com. And I believe my email is in there as well. And that is ann@annclossing.com. And you can cruise the website. You can, there's tabs in there where you can join the Facebook group. Um, you can direct message me too.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much for joining me today. And again, for Vanessa Donaldson here, you can reach me at resetwithvanessa.com. So more to come. We'll put stuff in the show notes and looking forward to this is the soft book launch and we'll be going on to Amazon here shortly. So
Yeah.
stay
Yay.
tuned and keep that love train movement going. And thank you again so much, Anne, for joining me today for a few minutes.
Thank you for having me. It was a joy.
Thank